Hello, my name is Roy Selway. This training video today will be about 18 minutes long. It will be on our new chucker line coming out of Spain. The first part of the video will feature Joe Selway, who's a founder in our company, and give you a broad overview of the factory. The second video will have an application engineer from our factory going over the control. I will then give you a brief walk around of the key selling features on this machine, and Jeff Wolf will finish up on the live tooling. The idea and the hope of this is you'll be better educated and better able to sell these machines in the field. Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Hello, my name is Joseph Selway. I'm the CEO of Eurotech. The difference now is I went away for vacation for 2 weeks and I grew a vacation beard. I actually told my grandchildren that it's a huge caterpillar that grew on my face while I was asleep on the beach and I can't get them off. My older kids, particularly my sons, I told them that I grew it in a day. But now, hindsight, I look back and I think we can solve some problems with this beard. They talk about the new normal. This beard is the new normal. So we can move on from that. Number two, there's confusion. It's ILM. Irish Lives Matter. I learned that all on my vacation, those 2 weeks. Now I'm going to talk to you about a subject that's real important and dear to my heart, is our new chucker line, which comes as a result of our new factories in Europe. And it's not a normal chucker. That's probably the most important thing that I could explain to you. It's a unique chucker. It's not a me too. I believe chuckers have become all over the world. They're building me too chuckers, trying to have the best priced machine for the money, lowering the quality, the componentry, the time and the effort to build, inspect, and put it through the plant. These are the opposite. They go to extremes to make the best chucker in the world, and they do. And I believe the more you educate yourself, you'll get the heart power we do. You can bring that across to the customer, because customers are not buying machines to spend money. They're buying machines to make money. So if I can spend a little more and make a lot more, it's a better investment. First sale will be the hardest. We know that. We've already seen that. But after the first sale, we believe both your salesmen and your technicians will be on fire, because that's what we've seen in the 3 territories where we've installed our first machines. Now, to explain a few things that I recognize over the years of these machines that make them so unique. Number one, they ball bar and laser test every machine, which I haven't seen in any chucker in the world, right? I believe there's some very large high-end 5-axis machines that they probably laser and ball bar. I hope they do, but that's unique. Number two, they're boxway cast machines with hand scrape ways. They oil cool these machines almost from top to bottom. And by that I mean a lot of the machines obviously oil cool their integral spindles. We do that. We also oil cool the turret. We also oil cool the servos, the couplers. We have sensors in the casting that are constantly measuring the temperature of the machine and keeping the ambient temperature throughout the machine, so we have a lot less thermal growth and we can hold long-term a lot tighter tolerances. We have over 5,000 of these machines in Europe, and customers that buy these machines buy again and again and again. And I think that's so important, because you recognize from that if you sell the first machine, they're going to line them up. Our goal in 2022 is to sell over 200 of these chuckers, along with over 150 of our bar machines. It's a hairy, audacious goal, but together we can do it. If you have and learn and get the heart power that we have on these machines and sell your first one, it's going to fly. I truly believe that. The importance as far as that I believe you have to have with dealing with Eurotech is that I believe we're unique, and it's why we do it, that we factory and design, we've tried to bring across the highest technology in the world in multi-axis. And then we back it with in-field free lifetime training, on-the-phone training, webinars. In our opinion, if we can deliver the highest end technology and our customers learn to utilize that technology, they're going to continue to buy because they're more profitable. And I believe you'll find that out with the customers we've sold to that end up lining up our machines. It's all because of the profit. Last of all, I want to thank all of you for representing and working with Eurotech. We do appreciate it. And together, I hope in 2 years, sincerely, I care about your company's profit and your family and your profitability, and I hope together we can grow and help the customers do the same thing. Thank you.
All right, thanks Joe for the introduction to the new Forza and Toro models. Just to put a little context into the overall line, because it's kind of confusing when you look at the brochures, there's really 3 different elements to the line to consider when you're looking at what machine to quote for a specific application. And I kind of think of it as 3 different dimensions of the machine. One being the spindle size. So they make 7 different spindles, anywhere from 15 down to 55, and you can kind of see in the specs, you know, that basically you go up in size in the spindle, you go down in RPM, and you go up in horsepower and torque, and up in both bar capacity and chucking capacity. So that's the first dimension, spindle size. And then we've got 6 different configurations. M for live tooling, S for subspindle, Y for Y-axis, SM for subspindle and live tooling, and YS for subspindle, live tooling, Y-axis. So dimension 1, spindle size. Dimension 2, the capability of the machine in terms of how much capability there is. And then there's 7 different lengths. So anywhere from a 400 millimeter or more or less 16 inch all the way up to a 3200 millimeter. And there's 7 different sizes. So kind of think of it in a grid almost of spindle size, machining length, and then complexity of the machine. 2 different series, the Forza series and the Toro series, and we're going to spend a little bit more time today on the Forza, but most of it applies to the Toro series as well. And with that, there's going to be a short video right after this talk by Ainhoa, who is the applications director at the factory in Spain, and she's going to go over the advanced control that we use on both the Toro and the Forza models. Thank you.
The new control is mounted with a 15-inch touch screen, and it's also provided with the mouse, so that you can use whichever you prefer. In the previous control, the operator had to go to several screens to find the information he was looking for. But now, in the new control, with the system with slides, the operator will find all the information within the same screen. Tool offsets, work offsets, macro programming, and even the manual guide will be in the same setup. Our engineering department has developed new CM-set customized screens to make them easier to use for the operation and even more visually guided. FANUC wants to help you with your tool management in your workshop. With the tool management application, the operator can load all the tool information from the tooling catalogs into the machine and even create their own catalog. Maintenance is an important feature for us. That's why we have developed a complete maintenance schedule and we have loaded it into the machine. In this way, you can go through a guided maintenance schedule that will help you to maintain the machine working all the time. We don't want our customers to lose time. That's why we have developed a complete guidance system that will help you to solve your problems through visual guidance and questions. Industry 4.0 is important for us and for our customers. That's why the new IHMI control will allow operators to browse on the internet, share the PC desktop, check for manuals, and even share notes within operators. We really think that the new FANUC IHMI control will enhance your productivity.
Before I move on to the machine, just one last thing on the control. Most of our Korean competitors use the OI. We bring in standard, the 32i. That upgrade alone is over a $12,000 list. And of course, we also bring the IHMI interface as standard. Moving on to the machine. The machine itself is laser compensated and ball barred before it leaves the factory. There is not another competitor that does this. Both spindles and the motor and the turret are integral, and both are chilled, and I'll get into that a little bit later on. Live tools, 12,000 RPM. This will be a huge selling feature and extremely beneficial to the customers. TA machines are box weigh on every axis except the B axis. The TD machines, the larger ones, are box weigh on every axis, including the B. And at our factory, there's no turret height. Every weigh is hand scraped. So now we move on. I want to show you a little bit more about the spindle.
Now quickly, this here is the main spindle. As you can see, it's an integral spindle, which means there are no belts, no pulleys, and no lag. These two lines you see here are chilling lines that go back to our chiller, which we'll talk about a little bit later. What's also shown here is the encoder, which is hooked directly into the spindle. Now we're at the back of the machine. This is the chiller. And as we talked about earlier, that covers both spindles, the turret, the servo motors, and the housing of the ball screw. Here we're looking at the weigh covers for the machine. They are scissor design, riding on linear rails. This gives great reliability and are heavy duty. It's the best design. The customer will not have any issues when it comes to chips damaging their weigh covers. Coming down here, I want to point out these aluminum lines, which are lubricating. Just an example of the craftsmanship and the quality of construction on this machine. And also want to point out once again the box weigh. These are hand scraped, no turret height. It's the more expensive way to build a machine, but it is the better way to build a machine. It gives better stability and better rigidity. Now we're looking at the track system. And this track system is where they run all their hydraulic, pneumatic lines and electrical. And what this gives them is great reliability. There'll be no rubbing or integrity of position. And they have it for all the axes. You have a track system here, here, and here. So for X, Y, and Z. And actually you can also see right in here, this is also part of the cooling system. This is a chiller for the servo. So just as a reminder, the turrets, the spindles, and the servo motors are all chilled. Once again, greatly reducing thermal growth on this machine. Right, now we're looking at the electrical cabinet. As you can see, it's very well laid out, very organized, very clean. This once again shows the quality of the construction of this machine, but also makes it very easy to diagnose both for us and your service techs. As you see, not only is every component labeled and identified, every wire and cable is as well. So once again, this makes it very easy for the customer, ourselves, or your service techs to troubleshoot any issues they may have with the machine.
Hey, this is Jeff again. I'm going to spend a few minutes going over the different live tools and show you the difference in size and rigidity on the tools that we use for our Forza series and for the Toro series versus some of the more popular models that we use for Index, Miano, Doosan, and some of the other major brands. So we'll just take a few minutes and look at those live tools, and I think you'll see right out how much more rigid the Toro and Forza tools are for your milling needs.
Okay, so we're going to take a look at a couple of the major tool types, driven tool types, and the ones that go on our new Forza and Toro lines versus some of the more popular models. And we'll start here with the tool that's used, I'd say primarily by Index, but this goes on their 2.5-inch machine. And if you kind of look, this is a VDI 25. One thing about VDI 25 is the whole drive shaft is 25 millimeter. Normally that's kind of the nomenclature on these tools, is the actual shaft that gets mounted into the turret size. So this is VDI 25, you can see it's 25 millimeter shaft. That's what's really driving the tool and holding it in place. And then your mounting surface is relatively small. You know, again, this is what they use on the 65 millimeter machine. So that's your mounting surface. And if you look at the weight of this tool, happens to be an Alger tool, but doesn't really matter what brand, they're all the same size. If you look at the weight of this tool, you're looking at 8.5 pounds. This is a Z-axis tool. Again, a very small mounting surface, a very small drive tang, and overall a very light tool. Then if we look the next size up, this is a VDI 45, I'm sorry, a BMT 45. And this is the tool that is used on, for example, the Doosan Lynx, most of the Miyano like BNX machines. And again, that 45 comes from the shaft mount size. Oops, sorry. Yeah, 45 approximately. Again, a pretty small mounting surface, a little bit larger than the VDI. The drive tang's a little bit larger than the VDI 25. You kind of look here. This is an X-axis tool, so it's not exactly an apples to apples comparison, but if you look at the weight there, we're looking at 3.5 pounds. Again, this is X-axis, but you can tell that the drive unit itself is fairly small, and the piece that is actually mounting into the turret disc is fairly small. So that's the 45. Then we go up to the BMT 55, which is used on, for example, Doosan Puma series, 2100 series, which we typically would compete with on our TA20 machines. Again, mounting is a 65 millimeter. Whoops. Or excuse me, 55 millimeter. Larger mounting surface, heavier tool, right? Pretty good sized tool. You're looking at 13.5 pounds here on a Z-axis tool, so pretty good size. But again, this is the mounting surface. If you compare it to our Toro and Forza tool, look at the difference in mounting surface here. Basically, with the 55, you've got this 55 millimeter shaft, and then this is the mounting surface on the face of the turret. Goes on, held on with 4 bolts. But look at this. Here you've got 2 different mounting surfaces. So this goes into the wedge block on the wedge slot on the turret. This gets pushed up against the turret face, this surface right here, all of this. And then in addition, this gets mounted to the peripheral piece of the turret. So you've got all this mounting surface, all of this mounting surface that goes against the turret disc. And then if you look at, by comparison, this shaft is going to be, up in the almost 78 millimeter range. And if you look at the size of this thing, it's heavy. $23 pounds by comparison. So that kind of summarizes where things are rigidity wise. If you want a very good comparison here, this will give you all of them. Kind of look at one by one or all. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. That concludes our video today. We hope this information has proved valuable to you. We have a very large goal to reach on our new chucker line. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or Jeff Waltz. We look forward to selling many more of these machines in the next year. Thank you again for your time.